life shouldn't be blue. I want it to be true. Don't want to be
Today we're going to watch part 2 of our Teen Mom episodic review. And now we're going to share with you what we feel this show is actually rated as far as content, story, and interest. Waylon and I thoroughly enjoyed watching this episode. And as you listen to our comments as we go along, let us know if you agree. Does this story structure with 9 girls excite you more than a story structure that had only 5 or 6 girls? I want to hear from you. We want to check and see if you give this episode the same rating we did. Now let's watch part 2.
Well, and Larry Musnick was in there a few times, but that was only because Farrah was constantly fighting with Larry. But Larry's a great guy.
I didn't.
Yeah. Larry sits in a position where he's got a lot of responsibility and he's trying to juggle a lot of things, some good, some bad. But at the end of the day, the show must go on, right? And I guess I would just encourage people that these networks aren't horrible. These production companies aren't horrible. At least the one that I worked with at MTV and even at WeTV or over on VH1, I actually found all of these professional people to be very good. And they're storytellers, and you got to tell the story. You got to get the full view of what's going on. And certain people may not have the personality that makes that quite possible. So there's things you have to do as a producer, as a production company, to get that story to come out right. I feel for the production company too, because if you can't get the story out, or people are not cooperating to give you the story because they want a fantasy up there like, oh, my life is perfect, everything's going good, I don't have any problem. Nobody's going to watch that, and everybody's going to go, that's bullshit.
If your life is perfect, which no one's is, it's not entertaining. You know what I mean? It's
right. Not interesting.
Yeah, and it's not relatable, right? Or unless you're telling me how you got that perfect life, then I don't really want to hear. I don't want to hear about it.
And here's my take. Nothing bad about anybody, but the story coming out of Las Vegas, I don't want to take any of that lightly. I think it's a powerful story and a story that needs to be told. But here's the thing. I feel like we already talked about that on the show.
Right.
I feel like it's been covered and at some point I want to see, okay, you went to court, you did this, you did that. Now, get away from that, right? If somebody is doing any kind of domestic violence to another human being, I don't care if it's financial, if it's verbal, if it's physical, and that is going to have a profound negative effect, not only on you, but also on those children and how they see life, then get that out of your life. Right?
Yeah. And if you're going to document it on TV, I understand documenting reality and what your real reactions are and, your real responses, I guess. But also, and granted, I've never been on TV, but I would think you would try to maybe show how you get out of that and how you respond to that in a positive way and how you go on and thrive instead of staying in those situations or keep going back to those situations.
Being depressed and letting your life go down the sewer because of it.
And just showing that you're constantly that person, you know what I mean? That's involved in those, because your kids are going to end up seeing those things eventually. And yeah, I don't know. It's not a good image to have of your parent.
Right. And they're going to say, Mom, why did you put up with him doing this or that? Or Dad, why did you put up with that? I think that's a real message about being a parent. It's not just about you. It's about those children as well. What are they seeing? What are they watching? Your testimony of how you live while others are watching, and maybe not, you're not even aware, or you're just so busy trying to get through day to day, you don't think about it. That is one of the most powerful things that me as a grandparent, when I look back, I realize now, oh my God, those are very teachable moments. And so what we do when we go to court and we have to stand up and be brave and say, look, this is what this person has done to me, and it's destroying me, it's destroying my family or whatever. Those are powerful, but you have to also have the same courage to say, I'm done with this and I'm moving on to another better scenario. Because why?
This is how I made it better, basically. Yeah.
I'm worth it, and I'm not going to put up with your crap anymore, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because you never know what your kids are internalizing and what they're seeing and what they're, interpreting as being, this is the way we handle situations like this, or this is the way we handle people like this, or, this is how you respond to these situations. Being able to see those things on national TV, see how you act, you might maybe want to change, and maybe she does,
Well, here's the
but
other thing that I think would be powerful is to have a woman like that, a young mom who's being put upon by, a problem that she needs to shed, to have the courage to stand up and say, hey, bitch, I don't have to put up with you anymore, or anything you're doing to me or these children, right? And just to kick this person to the curb, move forward. That has so much power versus just getting into stupid arguments and just going like
right.
Groundhog Day over and over and over. And we're like, okay, this is Groundhog Day, but now we're going to kick it. Okay. Now we're going to switch gears and go to the next level, right? That's what we need.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that would be really powerful for her kids to see.
Yes. Well, so now let's take a look at the whole next generation, or excuse me, Teen Mom Next Chapter. This episode that you watched and I watched, what would you rate it from a 1 to a 10, 10 being the best and the, really cool. And if you want to break it down to like a segment, like a story, you could do that too. So,
Um, I would probably give it an 8. I liked, like I said, I liked how they showed um the daughter that has MD, I liked that storyline. I thought that was great. I thought that was something we'd never seen before. And that's kind of what I'm looking for when it has to be entertaining, but I love that when it's something I've never seen before and you can tell it's real. It's a real response and a real situation for this family. I thought that was really interesting. And the the storyline with Macy and Ryan and Bentley, I thought that was really interesting too. How their family is kind of healed and they've gotten over a lot of, because I mean, if you've followed them, they had a lot of conflict and a lot of, there was I think the police were involved a few times
oh
and
yeah.
things like that. So yeah, so I mean, I think that's really interesting how they were able to repair that and just do what's best for their son. Um, the only kind of critique I had, and maybe this is just because I hadn't watched the Teen Mom 2, the next iteration of it. It felt like there were too many things going on, kind of like there were too many people, because it would just be short clips of this person and then it would go on to the next person. And it didn't feel like there was enough time to focus on one person and their whole story, I guess.
Right.
It felt like just really, and maybe they're doing that because people's attention spans are so short now from social media. They just kind of give short clips of someone and then go on to the next thing where, it's sort of keeping the focus. For me, it was kind of hard to focus on it, I guess, or to really get into it.
I would say that you and I are almost 100% in agreement. I would rate the entire episode as an 8, just like you said. I would rate the Ryan and Macy segment a 10. I would rate the Leah segment with her twins a 10. The rest of it, I would rate a 6. And the thing that also was so beautiful to see was, and because I know Ryan, I've spent a lot of time with Ryan. That was the first time I've seen Ryan smile and laugh in years. And I love the fact that they got his eyes and they were clear and they were clean and he was Ryan again. That was so beautiful. And anybody who knows Ryan or anybody who watches the story and knows the story probably felt the same way. So that's why I think the 10 is apropos there. And Bentley was outstanding. And it was good to see Macy mature in such a wonderful way. And here's the thing I love about Macy. She's humble enough to admit that she changed because she saw a problem and she fixed it. She didn't keep like, woe is me, blaming somebody else. She took responsibility and fixed it.
Yeah. The other thing I don't know how to say this, but without it sounding kind of um catty or mean or whatever, but the thing I thought was kind of interesting, if you go back to like the first episodes of like 16 and Pregnant and Teen Mom, and you see Ryan, and he was a very handsome guy, and he had addiction issues. He was involved in drugs and alcohol and a lot of things. And you see him now, he's only what, 32 years old or 33?
I think he's 35.
35? Okay. So he appears older than that when you look at him. And I think that's kind of interesting to see someone who has had all those issues, and it's kind of, he looks healthy now, but
Yes.
you can tell that it took a toll on him um physically. And I think that's interesting to see an actual person that has happened to, and it's been documented
Yes.
the whole way. And I think that's even if for people that struggle with addiction, even if if you're willing to give up being, successful professionally or whatever, have a good relationship with your family, a lot of people aren't willing to give up their vanity, I guess.
Yeah.
So if you can, so if you can see how that really affects like it can affect your appearance a lot, I think that's really important thing to
I
see.
think Ryan felt like when he started taking the drugs and he was letting the drugs take over, I think Ryan, and I'm not speaking for him, but I think he felt overwhelmed by everything and helpless, and he just gave up hope. And I know that he was trying to commit suicide, and he was just, I think he hit rock bottom, and so he didn't even care about what he looked like or anything.
Yeah, and when you're in that state, I'm sure you don't, but I just think it's interesting to see that, like, that what effect that actually takes on your body and your
Yes.
appearance.
And it was really good that MTV documented that, and kudos to them because, again, it's a powerful story if you just understand what you're looking at. And
Mhm.
my goal is, that when people watch our story, for example, that they will learn from our mistakes, they will learn from things that we did right. But most importantly, if they're afraid to change something in their life, hopefully watching these stories, whether it's Teen Mom OG, Teen Mom 2, Teen Mom Next Chapter, whatever, that they will feel like they're empowered to take and change their life to be better.
Yeah, that you can see yourself in these people, and and in their struggles, and maybe you don't have the exact same struggle or the exact same situation, but you can see someone trying to make a better life for themselves.
Exactly. So We're in agreement. We're going to give Teen Mom Next Chapter this episode about Bentley getting his birthday present, this Jeep pickup truck that's a gorgeous color of blue. We're going to give that episode a solid 8. And our 2 favorite segments were Macy and Leah and their powerful stories. We loved them.
Thank you for watching part 2 of the Teen Mom Next Chapter episodic review. We hope that you agreed with us and gave this a rating of 8 out of 10. We felt that it was well done. There were a couple of excellent stories and a lot to take in as families grow and change and face difficulties. And we believe that the stories that were shared here were quality and well presented. We just really enjoyed it. And thank you for watching the Rebel Podcast today.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.